Hey everybody, welcome back to Transsexual Sunday. I hope everybody's doing good today. Well, you know the spiel. If you're under the age of 18, now's the time to click it off because we're not here to groom anybody. We're just here to tell our stories. Also, if you've not already subscribed, now's the time to do so. And click the little notification bell so you can get a notification every time we put up something. So, also, you're welcome to comment as long as it's respectable. I will not accept harassment or anybody trying to bash me or any of my transsexual friends. It's just not going to happen. I will either just delete it or I will put a ban on you so that you can comment, but nobody can read your comments. So, comment at your own risk. Because I'm not here to put up with any of your crap. No. A lot of you will make comments and you actually have no idea who I am because most of you are too lazy to go back and look at my earlier videos under the section of Woman Once Removed that tells my life story. There's one troll turf, I think. It very well could be a crazy transgender person posing as a turf. But they're on this kick now of calling me daddy. During Father's Day, I made a post for my actual brothers. I have two brothers that are fathers and grandfathers, and I wish them a happy Father's Day. And ever since then, they have harassed me by calling me daddy. That I was the one that was a daddy. Well, if you go back and look at my videos, because of the fact that I was hormonally intersexed, I never used what I was born with anybody, male or female. So me being a daddy was an impossibility. And I won't go into how I feel about trans women using their penises. That's everybody's personal opinion. But in my personal opinion, women don't have penises. That's just the kind of gender dysphoria I have. I could not deal with what I was born with. It offended me. So I had it removed as quickly as I could. Yeah. And there's a lot of girls like me. So it's been nearly 50 years. Actually, it's been 50 years since I began my transition. I never actually lived as a male. When I left home at the age of 18, I lived as a woman from that day. And I've never looked back because it worked for me. I mean, you can look at me now and say, this is an old, ugly person if you don't think woman. But in my youth, I was lucky. That's all I can say because it wasn't anything I did myself other than try to groom myself. But I was gendered as female even growing up with a crew-cut haircut because I had a girl's face and I acted like a girl because that's who I was naturally. So it's not like it's just something I'm pretending. Because from the day I left home, I just was naturally me. I didn't have to pretend anymore. I didn't have to worry about, am I acting like a man? Am I doing like I'm supposed to do so that I will fit in as a guy. I never had to do that anymore. All that confusion was gone. So when it's right, child. But when it's not, it's pretend. And these people today that are controlling this transgender movement, they're confused. They're wanting to stir up trouble. They're not wanting to just live the life. Transsexuals just want to live the life and be as closely as they can be to that other gender, to who they feel like they are. It's not that we get up and pretend like you say we do. I'm this way every day. Every day for the last 50 years. So it's not pretend. I was lucky that I didn't look like a man so that I could just slip over into that role. I never grew facial hair, and my face stayed like a baby up until I lost this weight a couple of years ago. And I aged really quickly. So I was lucky. And I understand that a lot of people have more problems than I had, and I support those people. I support the people who I know are transsexual in their minds, even if they don't look like women. But I don't support these transgender people who are just using this as something to do, something that they want to be a part of. Someone who has other mental issues and they're wearing the transgender label to be a part of something. Those people need some counseling. They really do. But I've had a good life. And I'm not ready to give it up. No, I was retired. My cousin Charlotte Jean was retired. And we decided we wanted to do something else. We weren't ready to give it up. She had retired from the bank, and I was going through a divorce, and I'd already retired before that. And we decided to go into this business. Two Jean's Treasures. And we love it, and it keeps us busy, it keeps us excited. We love going out and buying things and going to auctions and all these fun things that we do. Keeps us busy. We've opened up a booth in an antique mall, and that has just been really working us pretty hard. And we're planning on another booth in another antique mall. So our late life career is turning into a real job. So y'all, you can just live your life and be happy, as long as that's what's right for you. As long as you don't have to go out and cause trouble with everybody else over it. I want to tell you a story. All these people, they worry about being misgendered, and these non-binary people, they all have got to go into women's restroom because men will harass me. Last week, I had an emergency, and I needed to go to the bathroom like now. Went into the women's restroom, and there was a line. I couldn't wait on a line. So I took myself out and went to the men's restroom. I said, sorry boys, it's an emergency. I got to go. I went in, used the bathroom, and came out, washed my hands, and they laughed about it. So I don't see any reason you non-binary people can't go into the men's restroom now. It is what it is now. This misgendering stuff needs to stop. This worrying about being misgendered. Because when someone genders you, it's on the beholder to speak it as they see it. So if you're not doing something right, now really, and all these extra genders, and that's all crap, you know that. Everybody knows that. Within a few years, all that will be passé, gone, and only the real transgender, transsexual people will still be doing it. Only the ones that it's really right for. Those people causing the most trouble will either be in mental institutions, dead, or have gotten into something else. Because that's how those people operate. And the TERFs, those people are so misguided. They don't know how to be women. And they're so jealous of the trans women. And I don't understand why they want to focus in on me. I'm old. I've done lived my life. You can't take it away from me. I done did it. So you need to go and jump into these young people who were doing all this crazy stuff. Because you're not going to stop me. And you're not going to stop my transsexual brothers and sisters, because it is within us. I'm not afraid to say that it's not in our DNA. This is who we are. So, if all it takes is someone to do what I did, to be happy, to live a successful, happy life, to be able to literally travel this world and not ever have any problems. I've been to London, I've been to Paris, I've been to Istanbul, I've been to several destinations in Germany, I've been to, let's see, the Middle East. I lived in the Middle East, in Amman, Jordan, in a Muslim household. How many of you could do that and not have your heads cut off? So you don't need to go messing with me because I have receipts on everything of my life. You can laugh about anything I say as if I'm one of these trans-testicle people. But that's not the way it is. I live in the state of Mississippi, but I was born and raised in North Carolina. That's where my father was from. My mother was from Mississippi. She left here in 1943. That last year that she was at home on her father's farm, he raised cotton. She said, well, I'll be turning 18, so don't plan on me picking cotton next year. I'll be gone. And she moved to North Carolina, where her oldest sister and her husband were living, working. So my mother went there. And it was during the war. Well, she went in 43, and the war was already going on. And she was engaged to a Mississippi boy who actually lived in North Carolina. And he went to the Army. Everybody was being drafted. So she worked with my daddy, who wasn't old enough to go to the Army. She was 19, he was 17. So she started dating my daddy. And her and her fiance broke up because someone wrote him and told him. So that's the reason I was born and raised in North Carolina. But my mama, she was gone for 50 years. And then when my father passed away suddenly from cancer, I was divorced. And she said she'd like to go back home to Mississippi. At that time, she had brothers and sisters still living, and she wanted to spend time with them. So I said, sure, let's go. I actually didn't want to move to this actual county where we are now because it's very rural, very small. Everybody knows everybody. I wanted to move to a larger town where I could easily work and try to have a life. Because I knew if I lived here, my life would be restricted because everybody would know me. But she said if I can't be near my folks on a daily basis, there's no need for us to go. So I said, okay, we'll move there. And we did. We bought one of my aunt's homes and had it remodeled. She moved into a retirement village, and our life started here in Mississippi. My mother was in a wheelchair, the reason she needed somebody with her. And we had a good life for 12 years. She eventually became bedbound, and the doctors wanted her to go to a nursing home because it was hard. I took care of her for almost 2 years in the bed. That was having to change diapers and all that. So those of you who think about me messing with a vagina, the only vagina other than my own that I ever saw was my mother's when I had to change her diaper. So we had a very close relationship all of my life. It's the only reason I would even think about doing that. But my life did change. I had to get used to people knowing. Now, people were respectable. Nobody ever said anything ugly to me. I'm sure they probably talked amongst themselves. But see, over time, over years, they got to know me as a person. When I first came here, I tried to get a job. Nobody would hire me because they all knew who I was. So at that moment, they were not accepting of a trans person. And I could have commuted back and forth, but my mother didn't like the idea of me being away from home that far away. So I went into business. I opened a store. That was when I was doing my Santa Claus doll art. And I was just so lucky. I've been lucky in my life. Things just snowballed beyond my own comprehension. I started doing these Santa dolls. Someone took one to an art gallery. They commissioned a showing. From that, I was listed in Mississippi Magazine under the artist section. Then they started interviewing me on television. Later on, my things were sent to major networks. They were shown on Home and Family with Christina Ferrari. And this was back in the 90s. So it was just bim, bam, boom. So when all that happened, this town, they just really zeroed in on me. They invited me to join the board of directors of the Chamber of Commerce. I was invited to join the Business Women's Association, and I was awarded Business Person of the Year in 1994. So for that, in the Bible Belt of Mississippi, that speaks volumes of how they saw me, not a transgender person, not a transsexual person. They saw me and my worth. So from that moment on, I've been accepted here. So there's nothing you can take away from me because I've had it all. Like I said, I have receipts from my life. So that's an opportunity that people can have if they show people who they really are. And you have to do that. If it's right for you, if you are truly a transsexual person, people can feel that gender when they're around you. They can feel it. They can sense it. They know you're not pretending. They know you're not dressing up. Because most of the time, I go around with my hair pulled up, no makeup, t-shirt, pair of jeans, and a man. Nobody has ever misgendered me. But like I said, most of that comes with how I act, how I am naturally. So, I've done some fabulous things, and I'm not finished yet. All right, y'all. Have a good day now. Love y'all. Some of you at least. And you know who you are.